Alright lads, so as of yesterday's Banker livestream, we got the massive announcement that 1000 Year Blood War is getting their resurrection, and they're going to be releasing October 13th. This obviously is very exciting for many veterans, as this is a super high profile banner in the history of Bleach Brave Souls. This was the first ever introduction to 1000 Year Blood War in any media outside the manga. Obviously, very exciting for us Bleach Brave Souls players and Bleach fans in general, and everyone. I can guarantee it, if you were playing the game back then, you will know exactly where you were when this banner was first announced. In my case, I was in my bed. But this obviously is a super exciting time, and with their resurrections happening in less than 2 weeks' time, I want to build up some anticipation, maybe even tamper, whatever the word is, your expectation, because resurrections have a system. They follow a formula, and that formula could be the ultimate downfall for these characters, and maybe they aren't going to get what you expect them to get. And that's what we're here to talk about today, to discuss, theorize what they could potentially get. Obviously, a week or two before they do get released. They're scheduled to come out October 13th, but they could get dates in mind a week before that if KLab do put the information in the game. But either way, I'm super excited about this, and it's just really nice to see 1000 Year Blood War characters get their resurrection. And of course, that means round 2, 3, and 4 later this year or early 2023 are eventually going to get their resurrections, and that's always going to be really fun because I'm a fan of these characters, I think as many of us are, because they're just really cool characters despite their age. They could be good if they get the right resurrection. So let's talk about it. So firstly, we're going to start off with Sajin. Now, what you need to understand when it comes to resurrecting characters in the way KLab do it, right? Not saying I agree with it, but this is how they do it. Characters get 7 skills. So what we can see here is that Sajin has 5 skills. Therefore, he's missing 2. He is going to pick up 2 skills with his resurrection. That is how KLab treat these resurrections. Now, I'm really hoping if there was a time to change that and give more skills, now would be the time to do so. With these new cards that we be getting, they be getting some crazy damage numbers and some crazy amount of skills. We're talking like 9+ skills with innate abilities. It's absolutely ridiculous. And it's really sad to see resurrectable characters like this, for example, only potentially pick up 7 skills. Again, they could change it. If there was a time to change it, it would be now, in my opinion. But regardless, if they do decide to give more skills, we can't predict that. So I'm only going to go on the assumption of the current resurrection formula of them only getting 7 skills. So in this case, we're only going to talk about the 2 extra skills he could potentially get. Before we do though, let's have a look at this character's soul trait. Normal attack damage plus 20%. Great soul trait, he's a normal attack damaging character, that's what you want to have. Now when it comes to normal attack damage soul traits for most resurrections, normally they just pick up 10% DR, which isn't bad, it's a pretty good combo, NAD and DR, you can't really go wrong with that, and that's probably what this character is going to pick up. At the same time, they could potentially give it 80% last to survival, which isn't too bad. I take either one, I don't think I really have a preference on any, and now that I think of it, I'd probably prefer last to survival, but at the same time, full stamina damage would also be good. I don't think it would make sense on this character. I don't think it would happen, but any of those 3 I think would be a nice solid upgrade to this particular Sajin. And it probably is worth mentioning Sajin as a character when he first released, he was kind of like a hybrid PvE, PvP character. This was right before the Brave Battle meta started to kick in with the 1000 Year Blood War Unohana release. That unfortunately kind of silenced this character, and he really didn't get limelight after the first month of his release. So Sajin in general was always a very weird character, but having a look at his skills, what we can see here, before talking about what skills he could potentially pick up, he does have 5 skills. Berserker plus 30%, Flurry plus 1, Long Reach plus 15%, Poise, and also Sprinter plus 1. So in terms of the skills that he already has, he's probably going to get an increase in his Berserker. It's probably going to go up to 40%, that's what they usually do, and Long Reach will also get increased by 5% to take it to 20% overall. And actually having a look at this character's naturing, what we can see is that naturally he does not have the 375 radius. So what we should see with that extra 5% increase and the natural attack string that he does have, that should get increased just a tad bit to overall take his radius to 450 with his resurrection, which is pretty good in my opinion. That's basically the standard for every NAD character or every character with Long Reach on their resurrections. However, of course, it is worth mentioning that Sajin is a permanent transformed character, so once you do use your Soul Bomb, your final attack of your NAD string actually does get a pretty solid increase on the range. It's 431 for the first 3 attacks, and the final attack is 546. so it's a pretty good increase, and the range itself also becomes a distant AoE instead of 150 AoE in front of him. So of course, with that extra added bit of range and also that extra 5% range that he should pick up, so that should also increase the final phase attack by quite a decent amount, and overall for a non-attack damage character like this, more range is always a good thing. However, as mentioned, since he does have 5 skills, he is going to pick up 2 new skills. But what will those skills actually be? Well, since he is an attack character, and what they have been doing, if you are an attack character with no bruiser, you're going to pick up bruiser. If you're an SP character with no berserker, you're going to pick up berserker. So I think the first skill that we can say with certainty is that he's probably going to pick up 20% bruiser, overall taking his damage output to 40% bruiser, and also flurry +1. However, it's the final skill, the 7th skill, that is the most interesting one that he could pick up here, because realistically, this could be anything. Now, in my opinion, there are a few possibilities. The worst case scenario would be 40% devastation. He does not have devastation. He's a normal attack damage character. He doesn't really want it. You're going to use chappies on him, so I'm really hoping they don't just give him 40% devastation, because that would be really bad in my opinion. At the same time, they could just give him weaken defense, weaken attack to add some utility to his soul bomb, or they could give him follow-ups just to make him a tad bit better when using your nat string. What I'm really hoping for here, and I know it's never happened before, but again, if there was a time to change the formula, it would be now. Guard break. Guard break on a character like this would actually make him usable in PvE content, and I don't think that's a bad thing. What we see here is that these characters are hype. They don't make that much money, right? But if you make them good, you're going to make people buy the packs. You're going to make people use them. And him getting guard break isn't going to break the game. It's realistically not. Even if he did get guard break, it's not like he's a super OP character. It just means that for those that want to use him, can use him. So I'm really hoping here that final 7th skill that he can pick up is going to be guard break. Do I think that's going to happen? No, because it's never happened before. But as I mentioned, if there was a time to change it, it would be now. So again, quick recap. Soul trait, he's probably going to pick up damage taken, potentially last ditch survival. He's going to get an increase of 10% on his berserker, increase of 5% on his long reach, and then he's probably going to pick up bruiser, and then potentially maybe devastation, follow-up, weaken attack, weaken defense, or guard break. Again, not confirmed. This is just theory, my speculation based on what they have done in the past, and we'll find out potentially in a week's time. But that's what I think about Sajin. Let's move on to the next character, which is going to be Byakuya. So this is probably the most exciting and the one I'm looking forward to the most, because when it comes to characters like this that are lacking a very key skill, obviously frenzy. Let's all be honest, we know this character lacks frenzy. Even when he released 5 years ago, him lacking frenzy was a pretty big deal. And now him still lacking frenzy, of course, is even a bigger deal. So if his resurrection doesn't give him frenzy, cancel resurrections. I don't want him anymore. That's just that simple, right? However, we have some good signs because characters like Wonder Weiss exist. Now, if you don't know, around a year or two ago, characters that had bombardment were not given frenzy when it comes to the resurrection. If a character didn't have frenzy, they were gonna pick it up unless they had bombardment. However, that changed again sometime last year with the release of this particular character getting his resurrection, Wonder Weiss, believe it or not. Because with his resurrection, he actually kept the bombardment and he did pick up frenzy +1. So that's a really good sign for, again, the future and the potential of a 1,000-year Blood War Byakuya resurrection, since he does have bombardment, and you know, the fear of him not getting frenzy, it shouldn't be there, because realistically, I think it's very likely here that he's finally going to pick up frenzy. Will our answers and prayers be heard from that petition that was started 5 years ago? Maybe. It should. Having said that, though, if we actually have a look at this character's soul trait, what we can see here is that he has damage inflicted at full stamina plus 20%. What you would like for him to pick up is 12% recharge, or 10% recharge, because that's what resurrected characters do get. However, looking at the past characters that have full stamina damage as their main soul trait, they don't have the best track record, right? But we have got examples with Aaroniero, for example, 20% full stamina. She did pick up the 10% recharge, and that's what we're hoping here, because she had a shield. But then we can see here with Ikaku, again, 20% full stam with a shield SA2, he got stam recovery. And then with Rukia, 20% full stam with the shield, she also got 60% stam recovery. So unfortunately, when it comes to characters with 20% full stam and also a shield, there are 2 examples of the character picking up 60% stam recovery, which, you know, it makes sense because, again, the character wants to be a full stamina, they have a shield, they're a defensive type of character, the built-in recovery makes sense. However, in the long run, it's not good. You want to pick up 10% recharge, and that is what I'm really hoping for here. He is a 1,000-year Blood War character, so you know, based off the movie characters' resurrections, Caleb don't really cuck them that bad. They should get some respect on their resurrections. So I think it's likely here that this character will pick up 10% recharge, which is going to be great because 10% recharge, full stamina is a very good soul trait. And overall, it's going to make him better because his strong attacks are going to come back a tad bit faster. And then finally, looking at his skills, he has Berserker plus 40, Bombardment, Bruiser, Havoc, Sprinter plus 1, and also Weakened Defense. So in terms of his skills, he's probably going to get a 10% increase on his Bruiser, and he's missing one skill. He's missing one skill, which is most likely, again, going to be Frenzy. That's what he should pick up it. If we go by one device, it's one device. He's not a 1000-year Blood War character. He picked up the Frenzy with Bombardment, and he kept the Berserker value. So just by going off of one device's character, we should expect the same treatment here. Byakuya should pick up Frenzy, keep the Berserker, keep the Bombardment, and if he does do that, Byakuya is going to be a good character. He's going to be one of the better 1000-year Blood War characters, believe it or not. Now, again, you might not use him. He doesn't have any status on it, which is kind of unfortunate in today's meta, but it's going to be good because he has a good strong attack here. He has a good damage output. Berserker plus 40 with the damage inflicted at full stamina, with the Bombardment and Weakened Defense. Like, this character's skills are actually really good. He was just always missing that Frenzy. And if he gets it, he is going to go from the worst character of this banner to the best character of this banner. So in Byakuya's case, he's very fortunate and he has the best potential to get a really good upgrade here. And it's very simple. 10% recharge, Frenzy plus 1, call it a day, very easily done. And this character would get a very good resurrection. And I think it's lining up because we have past examples of characters getting that treatment. And I think they're not going to flop with this particular character. Especially knowing that Caleb know that we made that petition asking for him to get Frenzy. So let's hope they don't flop it with this resurrection. And next up, let's talk about Toshiro. Probably the fan favorite of this banner. He was the best character in the banner at this time. And unfortunately, because of that, because he already has a great set of skills, he's probably going to get the weakest upgrade to a certain extent. Maybe Shunsui would get the weakest upgrade. It really depends on how they want to do it. He is a 12% recharge character. Since he is a 1000-year Blood War character, I don't expect them to give him, like, freeze immunity. I don't see it. I think they're going to give him a good second soul trait. Strong attack damage is what he wants to pick up. That's going to make him hit 60% harder and also going to make him a very good link for any power character sometime in the future. So in my opinion, that's realistically all I can see him picking up. As far as the strong attacks do go, he has some good strong attacks. What he does lack, though, is again Berserker, and he also is lacking Havoc, because if we look at his skills, he has Debilitator plus 5, Devastation 40, Frenzy plus 1, Long Reach plus 20%, Sprinter plus 1, and also Weakened Defense. So this character has 6 skills. Therefore, if we go by the 7 skill rule, he's only unfortunately going to get 1 new skill. And I've been talking with this with MV2, and you know, we kind of go back and forth. What would be the best upgrade here? So he's going to pick up 1 skill. Now, usually with the current resurrections, if you're missing 1 skill, you're going to get Berserker plus 20%. So the very likely outcome here is that he's going to get 60% strong attack damage on his soul trait and then 20% Berserker. Very basic and boring upgrade, but it's a good upgrade nonetheless, and that's going to make him hit harder, 36% harder in fact. But what I'm really hoping for him is that instead of getting that extra 20% Berserker, because he's going to pick up 60% strong attack damage on his soul trait, I'm kind of hoping he picks up 20% Havoc, because that means his range is going to be better. And it really depends on how you look at it, but in my opinion, you know, you can fix damage output. You can max transcend this character. He's going to hit hard. If you max transcend him, you can bring him in ITU. You can use him to farm content because he's going to be hitting hard regardless of basically having no Berserker value, but you can't fix mediocre range. Not to say, again, his strong attacks are bad. He has a good strong attack hit, and that's why Havoc would make him significantly more fun. So, again, it could go either way. He's definitely going to pick up 60% strong attack damage for his soul trait, but for that extra skill, that final skill, it could be 20% Berserker, or it could be 20% Havoc. In my opinion, my hope, 20% Havoc, because you can just max transcend him, and that extra range with the damage output and max transcendence, this character is going to be really fun to play again. In fact, you could, I'm about to say you could take him into PvP, probably not, but you know, again, he doesn't need much. Just 20% Havoc, 20% Berserker is probably what he's going to pick up. And again, we'll find out sometime soon. But in my opinion, what I personally want is 20% Havoc. But you know, best case scenario would be to take off Long Reach if they want to remove skills. Take off Long Reach, give him the Berserker, give him the Havoc, and then call it a day. That would be better. That's best case scenario. But Caleb haven't shown in the past that they are ready to remove skills. The Long Reach isn't really helping him, so it kind of sucks that he does have that. And then lastly, we have the head captain himself, Shunsui. Now, Shunsui as a character, what we can see here is that he does have a 20% strong attack damage soul trait. So what we will notice, one of the biggest flaws about this character is that he doesn't have any recharge. He has no built-in recharge. So what he's most likely going to pick up here is that minus 10% strong attack recharge second soul trait, which always going to be pretty good. That's a good soul trait for any speed character. 20% sad, 10% recharge is always great. It's going to be great for him too because it will mean his strong attacks will come back a tad bit faster. And then for his skills, again, 30% bruiser, 40% devastation, frenzy +1, havoc +20%, long reach +20%, and also sprinter +1. So in this case, unlike the Toshiro, he already has the built-in 20% havoc. So we don't have to worry about his range. He isn't going to get any more range, but what he's most likely going to pick up is an extra 10% bruiser to take that to 40%, and then 20% berserker, since again he's only missing one skill. So in the long run for this character's resurrection, he should get that 10% recharge, and he should hit 20% harder with his strong attacks, which I think is good. That's all this character really does need. He doesn't need anything else like super special, and that's probably what he's going to pick up with, again, the 7 skill rule. 20% berserker, 10% recharge and soul trait, call it a day, and that's basically it. That's basically all the skills these characters should pick up. I'm fairly confident with the prediction when it comes to resurrections on what they are going to get. Byakuya, definitely going to get the biggest upgrade. Toshiro is hit or miss whether they want to give him more damage or more range. Shunsui should pick up more recharge, more damage. And then Sajin, more damage, a tad bit more range. And that final skill is really going to make or break the character. But that's only going under the assumption of these characters getting 7 skills. Again, if Caleb want to change it, they want to give more skills, now would be the time to do so. And that would greatly benefit these characters, as it would make him even better. But either way, I'm excited for these resurrections. That's my expectation. And if they get that, I'm going to be happy. If they get anything more than that, I'm going to be extremely happy. And if for some reason they don't do that, it's going to be a tad bit disappointing. But in the comments below, let me know what you think these characters are going to get and what you're hoping for them to get. But with that said, hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.